For 30 years, the whispers lingered. Now, in a shocking turn of events, the family of Lee Van Cleef is finally coming clean. Did Lee Van Cleef's death all those years ago really go down the way it was reported? Join us as we unearth the long-held secret that could rewrite history. Was it an accident, or something far more sinister? Keep watching to find out what Lee Van Cleef's family is finally admitting, the truth you've all suspected for years. Early life and struggles. Born in Somerville, New Jersey on January 9, 1925, Lee Van Cleef became a legendary character in early American cinema. His parents, Clarence Leroy Van Cleef and Marion Lavinia Van Fleet, had a profound impact on his formative years. The middle-class lifestyle that he and his family enjoyed was made possible by his father's job as a chemist, and his mother's talent as a concert pianist gave him an early and lasting love of music. As a child growing up in Somerville, Lee Van Cleef showed signs of being bright and driven. As evidence of his commitment and drive, he graduated from Somerville High School at the tender age of 17, having excelled academically. He demonstrated his academic prowess and made a calculated decision motivated by patriotism by graduating early. As hostilities escalated in World War II, Van Cleef enrolled in the U.S. Navy in September 1942. The time was of the essence, and he wanted to serve his nation during a war, so he enlisted early. Throughout his tenure in the Navy, Van Cleef demonstrated exceptional service. He was an integral part of the USS SC-681 submarine chasing team, which was tasked with safeguarding American waters from hostile submarines. In subsequent years, he was a member of the elite minesweeper crew of the USS Incredible, where he risked his life clearing naval mines to allow Allied ships to pass safely. Van Cleef's military service. Following the completion of his military training, Van Cleef was first assigned to a submarine chaser, and then he was transferred to a minesweeper known as the USS Incredible, where he worked as a sonarman. In the beginning, the ship kept a watchful eye on the Caribbean. Later, it relocated to the Mediterranean and took part in the landings that took place in southern France. As of January 1945, Incredible relocated to the Black Sea, where it carried out sweeping operations from the Soviet Navy base located in Sevastopol, which is located in Crimea. In the aftermath, the vessel carried out air-sea rescue patrols in the Black Sea before making its way back to Palermo, which is located in Sicily. It was in March of 1946 when he was finally discharged from the military. He had already acquired the rank of Sonarman First Class, SO-1, and had also been awarded the Minesweeper Patch. Not only that, but he had also been honored with the Bronze Star and the Good Conduct Medal. Because of his deployments, Van Cleef was eligible for a number of different medals, including the World War II Victory Medal, the American Campaign Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, and the American Campaign Medal. 1946 marked the year when he was released from the service. Van Cleef's on-screen career. After leaving the Navy, Van Cleef received his first acting role as a reader for the play Our Town at the Little Theater Group in Clinton, New Jersey. From there, he continued to meet with the group and audition for parts. The next biggest part was that of the boxer, Joe Pendleton, in the play Heaven Can Wait. During this time, he was observed by visiting talent scouts who were impressed by Van Cleef's stage presence and delivery. One of these scouts later took him to New York City talent agent Maynard Morris of the MCA agency, who then sent him to the Alvin Theater for an audition. The play was Mr. Roberts. Van Cleef's screen debut came in high noon. During a performance of Mr. Roberts in Los Angeles, he was noticed by film producer Stanley Kramer, who offered Van Cleef a role in his upcoming film. Kramer originally wanted Van Cleef for the role of the deputy Harvey Pell, but as he wanted Van Cleef to have his distinctive nose fixed, Van Cleef declined the role in favor of the part of the silent gunslinger Jack Colby. He was then cast mostly in villainous roles, from the part of Tony Romano in Kansas City Confidential, 1952, culminating 14 years later in Sergio Leone's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Between the years 1959 and 1962, Van Cleef appeared in 4 episodes of The Rifleman on ABC, starring with Chuck Connors. She also appeared in 2 episodes of Tombstone Territory on ABC, playing the role of Stinger in the 2nd season episode 31 of The Prodigal in 1960. In the year 1958, he was selected to play the role of Deputy Sid Carver in the episode The Great Stagecoach Robbery of Frontier Doctor, which was another Western series that was syndicated and starred Rex Allen. In 1959, Van Cleef made an appearance as Luke Clegg in the episode Strange Request of the NBC Western series Riverboat, which starred Darren McGavin. In 1961, he appeared as Jumbo Kane in the episode The Hostage of the CBS Western series Wanted Dead or Alive, which starred Steve McQueen. In 1961, he appeared in an episode of Maverick titled Red Dog, which starred Roger Moore and John Carradine. Both the episode of Bonanza titled The Bloodline, which aired on December 31, 1960, and the episode of Gunsmoke in which he starred were from the year 1960. He played a wicked con artist in the former. In 1961, he appeared in the episode The Grave of the 3rd season of The Twilight Zone, which starred Lee Marvin. He played a key role in the episode. As a wicked henchman of Lee Marvin's titular role, he appeared in the film The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which was directed by John Ford and released in 1962. The film also starred John Wayne and James Stewart. The episode of Perry Mason that he featured on was titled The Case of the Golden Oranges, and it aired in 1963. There was an episode of The Travels of Jamie McFeeters titled The Day of the Misfits that he appeared in during the same year. The turning point in his career. The filmmaker Sergio Leone presented Van Cleef with a significant opportunity in 1965, which could be considered a defining point in the history of the industry. In the case of Van Cleef, this was the defining moment that propelled him to the forefront of the public eye out of nowhere. The film For a Few Dollars More, which was directed by Leone and released in 1965, featured Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood in complementary roles. The movie was a major success, particularly in Europe, where it solidified Van Cleef's position as a successful box office draw. Despite the fact that there were some skeptics and problems, the movie was tremendously profitable. His charisma and acting skills were on full display in the film, which garnered plaudits from both spectators and critics alike. Van Cleef was cast in the lead role of Sergio Leone's Western masterpiece, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which was released in 1966. The director decided to capitalize on the actor's resurgence in popularity. This time around, Van Cleef took on the role of Angel Eyes, the primary antagonist who serves as a contrast to Blondie, the good, who was portrayed by Clint Eastwood. The already great reputation that Van Cleef had received a significant boost with the release of this film, which is now regarded as a classic in its area. The commercial success of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly contributed to the further establishment of Lee Van Cleef as an iconic actor who was capable of playing a diverse range of parts. It was demonstrated by his performance as the enigmatic and ruthless bounty hunter Angel Eyes that he was capable of captivating audiences with a subtlety that left an impression deep within them. Van Cleef's career took a dramatic turn for the better with these parts. He overcame adversity after his mishap and went on to star in critically acclaimed films. After a long slump, Van Cleef was able to regain his prominence and cement his position as a Western cinema great thanks to Sergio Leone's faith in him and his vision. Lee Van Cleef's legendary performances in Sergio Leone's flicks catapulted him to stardom in the spaghetti western genre. Van Cleef became known as an adaptable actor who could play pivotal and frequently unexpectedly heroic roles after turning in landmark performances in films like The Big Gun Down, 1966, and Death Rides a Horse, 1967. In Take a Hard Ride, Van Cleef and Jim Brown ventured into Italian-American co-productions, showcasing Van Cleef's international appeal and creative spirit in the Western genre. Films like God's Gun and Kid Vengeance, which starred Leif Garrett and had unusual Israeli settings, displayed his acting versatility as his career progressed. As the 1970s came to a close, Van Cleef kept making waves in American Western cinema. His versatility as an actor and his command of the Western genre were on full display in films like Barquero, El Condor, and The Magnificent Seven Ride, in which he effortlessly shifted between characters while retaining his charisma and rugged good looks. The martial arts picture The Octagon, in which Van Cleef co-starred with Chuck Norris, marked a turning point in his career. His versatility as an actor was on full display in this change from his typical Western parts to a more action-oriented one. Making use of the martial arts' meteoric rise to Hollywood stardom in the 80s, the picture increased Van Cleef's exposure to those looking for high-octane action and fight scenes. Lee Van Cleef's 3 marriages are a reflection of his complicated and dramatic personal life. In addition to his changing work and the obstacles he encountered, his family life and relationships were major parts of his journey. Van Cleef's romantic relationships. Van Cleef was definitely not a one-woman man because he got married to a total of 3 women. In 1943, when Van Cleef was just starting to make his mark in the world, he wed Patsy Ruth Cayley. His family life began with this union, and he had 3 children, Alan, Deborah, and David, with his wife. Managing a burgeoning career alongside the duties of children was no picnic for Van Cleef and his wife in their early married years. Irreconcilable conflicts led to the couple's divorce in 1958, despite their best attempts. Van Cleef's personal life took a turn when his marriage ended, forcing him to balance his acting career with the intricacies of his family. Joan Marjorie Drain became Van Cleef's second wife in 1960. His breakthrough came during this time when he started to get noticed for his unique Western roles, and he went on to create some of his most iconic films. After 14 years of marriage, he finally tied the knot with Joan in 1974. Even though Van Cleef's career was booming at the time, he and his partner eventually broke up due to the stresses of his work and his personal life. Another major turning point in his life came with their divorce, which mirrored his constant battles to find happiness outside of work. Barbara Havalone was the third and last spouse of Van Cleef, who wed her in 1976. For the last years of his life, this marriage provided him both security and company. Throughout his last years of work and life, his survivor Barbara Havalone was by his side. Van Cleef, who had already achieved legendary status in the film industry, enjoyed a time of peace and stability after his marriage. With Barbara by his side, he had a reliable companion who understood his struggles with his health and work, and who encouraged him along the way. A fascinating glimpse into his long-lasting marriage was revealed by Van Cleef in an interview, which shed light on the mutual understanding and dedication that have been crucial to their partnership. As he reflected on their connection, he recalled the vows they exchanged at their 1976 wedding, a vow that has shaped their life as a married couple for many years. "She accompanies me wherever I go. The 2 of us are usually present at every event," Van Cleef started. Their marriage has been distinguished by a profound sense of companionship and partnership, and their statement reflects that. Their mutual commitment to supporting one another's endeavors was evident from the start. The parties' deliberate decision to divulge not just their private but also their professional life is mirrored in this agreement. Van Cleef stressed that the 2 parties had come to this agreement voluntarily, out of a deep regard for one another and a desire to see each other happy. A fundamental aspect of their partnership has been their reciprocal desire to support and satisfy one another. Respecting each other's desire for personal space is crucial to sustaining a good and balanced relationship, as Van Cleef also mentioned. Also, we understand that everyone needs time to themselves every so often. That is very significant. They have been able to develop separately, and as a couple thanks to the marriage's emphasis on uniqueness, which has given each partner a greater feeling of purpose and freedom. As he did in Israel and along our coastlines here, he affectionately highlighted his wife's favorite pastime. "She likes to go walk on the beach wherever we are. Her health depends on her time alone, and these solitary walks are a way for her to do just that." The fact that Van Cleef recognizes and accommodates her need for these times demonstrates his profound respect for her beyond her marital status. Lee Van Cleef's battle with addiction. Addiction was a real struggle for Lee Van Cleef, just like it was for some of his fictional characters. What many had assumed for a long time, that Lee Van Cleef was hooked to heavy smoking, was recently confirmed by his son. An additional tragic aspect to the actor's public image was added by this disclosure, which illuminated his hardships behind the scenes. Van Cleef's smoking roles in films merely added fuel to the fire of rumors regarding his real-life smoking habits. This guesswork was reasonable. His son verified that his father, Van Cleef, fought a smoking addiction for a significant portion of his life. He incorporated this practice into his everyday life. It was not merely an acting prop. The effects of Van Cleef's cigarette addiction on his health were devastating. He developed emphysema and chronic bronchitis in his twilight years as a direct result of his smoking habit. He struggled to keep up the energetic on-screen persona he was famous for due to the severe impact these respiratory problems had on his quality of life. Despite all of this, Van Cleef kept working, though his performances suffered as his health deteriorated. Some speculated that Van Cleef had problems with alcoholism in addition to his smoking problem. The speculations that Van Cleef may have resorted to alcohol as a method of managing the stresses and demands of his profession were less widely reported than his smoking habit, but they were still there. A vicious cycle of addiction and deteriorating health would have ensued if this had been the case, adding to the health problems already caused by his smoking. All aspects of his life, from his health to his relationships and career, were affected by his addictions. Everyone around him could see the toll that smoking and maybe alcohol were having on him. Regardless, Van Cleef's dedication to his profession shone through as he kept wowing audiences with his tremendous performances. The legendary Van Cleef was presented with the Golden Boot Award in 1983, a tribute to his immense accomplishments in the Western cinema and television industry. His distinctive contribution to the famous Westerns that enthralled viewers worldwide was highlighted by this distinction: illness and death. Lee Van Cleef died on December 16, 1989, which was only a day before his 65th birthday. He had been fighting heart illness since the late 1970s and had a pacemaker put in the early 1980s, but he never stopped acting. His heart attack at home in Oxnard, California, came as a shock to everyone. His throat cancer was one of the factors that contributed to his demise. He was laid to rest in Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Hollywood Hills, California, and his grave monument bore the inscription, "Best of the Bad," which was a reference to the numerous notable acting performances he had given in the role of a villain. What part of Lee Van Cleef's life journey shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more enlightening videos like this. Till next time, stay safe.